Alright, so currently I'm in India and I'm here setting up my business. And the thing is, I was sitting with myself and I was thinking that, okay, I would like to actually help people or help students by the time they graduate to be where I am right now. And since I want all of you to be the best versions of yourselves, I kind of dived deeper into myself and I found what was the reason for my current success, let's say. And I figured out it was because of two reasons. One of them is financial literacy and understanding the financial system pretty much. Now in this video, I don't want to dive so deep into financial literacy, but as a student watching this, what is the most thing that you should be aware of right now? I think you should really be aware of budgeting and understanding how your money flows and where it comes from. Okay, before I start teaching you how to budget as a school student, the first thing that you should really look into is where does your income come from? Because based on where your income comes from, this is how we're going to be able to calculate how are we going to manage our expenses or how we can even start building savings even from that time. So you need to understand where does this income come from? Does it come from your parents? Like, are you getting some sort of allowance or some sort of pocket money from your parents? Are you on a scholarship? Is it some sort of inheritance? Are you working a part-time job, a full-time job? You need to understand where is this income actually coming from. And the second thing that you should also keep in mind is how regular it is. Like, is it like some sort of something that comes every 6 months, some every 3 months, sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't, or is it something that is actually regular, like something that you do receive every single month? And is it flexible or no? Can you possibly basically ask for more? Let's say if it's your scholarship allowance, or let's say it's an allowance from your parents, can you actually ask for more? Or let's say if it's a job, can you actually talk to your boss to increase your wage or your pay? Right now, as you understood your income, it's time for you to understand your expenses. So the thing is, we're going to dive deeper into fixed cost and variable cost. And probably we have heard about it, let's say in our business classes or our business school or even around us. So what is fixed cost and what is variable cost? All right, so fixed costs are costs that do not change, while variable costs do change according to what do you exactly pay for. For example, if we're gonna look into fixed costs are more of like your rent or the interest rate that you pay for the bank, for example. These things don't really change and you have to keep paying them. Compared to, for example, variable cost. Variable cost is more focused on the things, the little things that you can actually change. Like, for example, the groceries that you buy, the clothes, the movie tickets, the, let's say, eating outside. All of these things are called variable costs. And this is going to be more of our focus in this video. How to control and how to minimize your variable cost, but also we're going to give good tips about how to control your fixed cost. Now you understood where your income comes from and you also understood fixed cost and variable cost. Now let's dive deeper into them. So right now you have added, let's say I have to pay rent or I have to pay for my room fees or your dorm fees or something like that every single month. So this is going to go in your fixed cost column. And then there's going to be the variable cost. Let's say I eat outside, then let's say I buy groceries, I have to pay for this or that. So this you have to put them in your variable cost. So you have to kind of check what are the costs that you can actually control and what are the costs that you can't control, and then divide them accordingly. And after we're done with that step, we're going to move to the third step, which is you need to have an app that actually manages your expenses. How would you know how much you actually spend on each of these costs if you don't really know them down? Like, how would you know that you're overspending on eating outside if you don't have basically a statistic or some sort of graph that shows you that you're spending way too much on eating outside? So the first step is you should actually download an app on your phone that is very simple to use. I use the Money Manager Expenses app, something like that. I've been using it literally for 4 years throughout my whole years of university. I'll put its like link or something over here on the screen, or maybe down there in the description. You can definitely use it. It's very easy and it helps you understand my expenses pretty well, because this is the first step in order for you to control your fixed cost and variable cost, and also maybe have a chance to save a little bit of your income, is for you to observe your expenses. So my first advice would be for you is that I want you to download this app or any app that will help you manage your money or understand where it flows, and then start looking at the first 3 months at least, and start looking at, let's say, where does your money go and how does it come and all of these things. And this is going to help you understand more how can you control your money, what is the most thing that you spend on, and is it necessary or no, and then based on that we're going to go from there. Now, fourth tip, you need to understand the 50-30-20 rule. What is that? So the 50-30-20 rule is basically the rule that teaches you, even though honestly I take more than this percentage a little bit for my savings, but I'm gonna get to that. Basically the 50% of your income should go towards your needs and towards the things that you really have to pay for, example your rent or your food, okay? But I don't mean eating out, I mean the food that is necessary for you to live, okay, to stay alive. Then there's the 30% where it's kind of the things that you want. For example, you want to go outside, you want to buy a gift for your friend's birthday, you want to have like you want to attend a movie, something like that. So this is where you put the 30% basically on your wants for this month. Then the last 20% actually goes for your savings. Now, do you remember how I always advise you to pay yourself first? So the thing is, as soon as you get your income, if you really truly want to make some savings, You take 20% away and then you put it in your savings and you never touch that no matter what happens. This is my first tip for you. But for me personally, I actually do invest more than 20% because alhamdulillah, I can do that. But the thing is, even if you can do that, I do still suggest that you do pressure yourself into putting the 20% first, because the thing is, I'll tell you what happens when you put the 20% last. You can keep on spending, and then literally middle of the month, you will find that you have finished all of your pocket money or all of your salary. And then you'll kind of be like, oh, God, I didn't save anything. But the thing is, when you save first, you kind of force yourself to stick to the budget that is left throughout the whole month. So this is also going to teach you some sort of self-discipline with money. Also, you're going to be kind of like a winner in the end, because at the end of the month, you're going to have some respect for yourself as well, that you were actually able to keep 20% of your income when you do it first. And another thing is that it will teach you as well that, let's say you do have to pay some extra money for something during the month, then your brain is going to start to have to force itself to think of ways to generate income at the time being. Now, let's get into some tips that will actually teach you how to budget as a student. Now, I told you that I already have a very good tip for us in this video that is going to even help you with fixed costs, even though that is a bit hard to change. But I may have a tip for you that not everyone will be comfortable with, but I think you should put it into consideration. For example, you need to check, is it more expensive to live in dorms or outside of campus? And obviously go for the cheaper one. Second, if you're living alone, it's probably more costly than actually living with someone. And it's not only about the rent, but it's also about the grocery, it's also about the electricity bill, the water bill, internet bill, all of these things. If you're living with someone, then the bill is kind of split 50-50. If you're living with another two people, then you're paying only 30% to 40% to what you're usually used to paying. If you're living with another 3 people, then the bill is split by 4 people. So that means each one of you is only going to be paying 25% of the expenses. So imagine going from paying 100% to paying 25%. Usually the downside of this is kind of the privacy part. Some people really can't take living with a lot of people because of the privacy and how they always want to have their own house and their own space. But if you're the type of person who's quite social and actually don't mind that, then this is definitely the option for you. And you never know, maybe you can be living with people that could become the best memories about your university experience. Now, another tip for you that this is actually going to help you generate a little bit of income is for you to sell your old stuff online, and specifically on Facebook Marketplace, because things over there are like second-handed. So the thing is, a lot of students would go for buying something like that because they're much cheaper than buying them as first-hand from the shops. And sometimes, and most of the time actually, they are usually in great quality. And also with you selling items and buying items as a second hand, this is also a form of sustainability. So you're also helping Mother Earth with all of this. Now, the next tip is reduce eating outside. Actually, I am kind of suffering with this right now because I'm always outside. So the thing is, I'm forced to eat outside most of the time. I don't really have time to cook or be around my mom who cooks for me, and I'm very grateful for her. So the thing is, I have to eat outside all of the time, and it's a lot of cost. When I was actually calculating my cost for my India trip, I realized that the most thing I've spent on is actually eating outside. But the thing is, the food here is pretty awesome and it's worth it. So try reducing eating outside as much as possible. So you can be outside eating like $15 meal, but the thing is, with this $15, you can buy the whole ingredients for the meal and you can cook for you and other 4 people, literally even till the next day. So the thing is, put that in mind when you're also trying to budget, because this is the most thing that students tend to spend on, which is eating outside. And sometimes even with classes and exams, you kind of just, like, I don't want to cook, I don't have the time to cook. You do have the time to cook, and it's okay, it's not wrong from time to time to order, but the thing is, if it's a habit, cut it and start getting used to the habit of eating at home, and also it's healthier for you. Now let's move on to the next tip, which is a tip that a lot of you are going to hate me for, and I hate myself even for saying it out loud, but trust me, this will help you a lot in the long run, which is pack your own coffee instead of spending that $5 that you spend every single day on coffee from outside. The thing is, sometimes the cafeterias for university, they would sell it for much cheaper. If that's the case, then okay, but even try not to do that every day. But the thing is, if you're buying it from Starbucks, etc., then it's super expensive, and I just suggest to cut it completely. Try to do that most of the time, if not every single day. The thing is, you can also buy all the delicious ingredients and you can keep it with you at home, and you can create your own coffee that can last like hot for the whole entire day, and that like last thing, I don't know, I forgot what is it called, and you can pack it and keep it with you for the whole day. Maybe try that. Maybe like, let's say 2 days a week you would decide to, okay, I want to like drink coffee from outside, and then maybe 3 days you would pack your own coffee. You will also find a huge difference at the end of the month, like how much you actually spent. Our next tip is actually related also to coffee, but actually it's this time about coffee shops. So let's say you want a change of environment for you to study and you're kind of bored of studying at home, then I suggest you go study at a friend's house or study at the library, because you're much more likely to achieve much more and spend much less. The next tip is actually about you generating more income. So let's say, for example, you have some space between your classes, or let's say your classes are mostly in the morning and you have a lot of time in the evening. Then I suggest it's maybe time for you to start looking for a full-time or a part-time job if it's suitable for you. I would suggest more you go for a part-time job so you can also leave a time for you to hang out with your friends and also for you to study. And this full-time or part-time job, it does not have to be on site. Like for example, you're working as a waitress or a barista, which I actually did work as a barista before. As a huge coffee lover, it was like one of the greatest jobs I had. Okay, wait, not our point. But you can also work online. I will make a video soon of ways to generate income online as a university student, so stay tuned for that. Now, speaking of online opportunities, why don't you start a YouTube channel? This is actually our last tip. A YouTube channel does not only have to be a business for you, but it could also be a place where you can store your memories online, the ones you have gained from university and the memories you made with your friends, and also benefit other people of learning more about the university experience. Let's say high school students that want to go to your university, or they want to know more about the university experience and what should they be ready for. Maybe you can provide that service for them. Now, thank you everyone for watching my video. I hope this video helped you on learning more about budgeting and learning more about how can you a little bit control your income and also control your expenses. And I hope you have a great experience in your university and also learn to have fun while still budgeting. Thank you, and see you all in my next video. Goodbye.